Hey everybody, welcome back to the studio. Today I got a short little project I'm going to start digging into here. As many of you know, I have been playing and getting into Hail Caesar recently. Upcoming game, March 20th here in the gaming hall. Macedonians versus Romans. It's going to be a throwdown. So make sure you tune in for that. So yeah, I dug out two old battle cases, which are Games Workshop cases. I got two of them here. I got one of the normal cases, and that's one of the double big dog cases. Now, it turns out 21 years ago I finished this army. And how do I know that? Because even back then I was initialing and dating my pieces. I found some today. I was going through some of my old Games Workshop totes and cases, and I found some back to '88 in there that I'd signed and dated in 1988. Some old Warhammer stuff. So that's where we're at. I've got this little army. We're going to go over here to my workshop area, and I'm going to do a top down and show you some of the categories of troops I have here and show you what I've got cut out for me. I don't know. I'm not sure who made these. They're all pewter. Everything I have over here is pewter. Like I said, I've got a lot of stuff. I've got some dudes like this with spears. I've got Muslim. I have Christian. But I thought I will roll them into some other type of force for Hail Caesar, instead of letting them sit in cases and just rot. But I really don't think I'm going to be able to get these bases off. I pulled one off, but I glued these so well with super glue, and then you see I coated them old school style with grass. It's starting to look like I dug out my old Warhammer Fantasy movement trays that I built. I got a stack of them, and I even had them so that my old fantasy stuff was magnetized until I tore all those off the bases and multi-based them. So I don't know, guys. I don't think I'm gonna be able to multi-base these. The other option I have, because I actually cut metal, right, and then my old Warhammer fantasy stuff had the flex magnets on the bottoms of the bases. Or even, no, I didn't do that. It didn't. The flex magnet didn't work. I actually just bought a whole bag full of rare earth magnets, and I put those on the bottom of the bases. Yeah, it was an involved project. I did 4 armies that way, and painted them all black. And they had a nice weight to them, so I could rank these guys up. They actually rank up perfectly. I was toying around earlier. I bring you in here on the camera. They actually ranked up perfectly, so I did a good job making them match the old movement trays. But I got a couple of movement trays probably worth of these spear guys, and I don't know, back in the day I was thinking, you know, I paint one army blue helmets, the other army red helmets. I don't know what the hell I was thinking. So we obviously have to address that, actually get the helmets painted real metal. Probably dress up the shields a little bit, and definitely this is before I even knew what a wash even was. Okay, these were definitely not washed. So yeah, my other option is I could take some of my hardboard bases, get those out and just glue these on there so that they don't fall around. The problem is with these old kits, these old cases, they're all single slots. So yeah, and they really won't work for new 40K figs because they're just so much bigger. So I don't know, there's some decisions that need to be made if I do go multi-base and just permanently glue them to a base. The other option is like I'm doing here, I could still rehab the figs, and I could keep them, just put them on movement trays. What I'm looking to avoid, guys, is this constant ranking up troops, and then putting them all back away. I guess that is a way that I could still continue to use these boxes or these cases and So yeah, so I have to do some thinking on this. Maybe, you know, post some comments below, get over on my Discord group, hit the link in the description box below this video, and let's get my group built up. I just completed today different rooms, you can call them, in my Discord group, where you can go into World War II, Napoleonics, and there will be specific posts and conversations on all of those different topics in gaming. I even have Star Wars in there, guys, so don't be afraid. Get on Discord. It's not gonna hurt you. It's safe, it's more secure, and no one can reach in and, you know, ban us, right, from what we're putting on there, which is basically wargaming stuff. But guess what? From time to time in the American Civil War room, you'll probably see some Confederate flags on some of the miniatures, and in the World War II room, you're probably going to see some swastikas from time to time. So if you're a soft-hearted little soul and that just upsets you, you probably don't want to go over there, because, you know, we're trying to keep it real, guys. We're keeping it real. There's no Nazis and neo-Confederates over there. It's just, you know, serious war gamers. Serious war gamers. All right, guys, we're going to cut away. We're going to go over here to my workbench, and I'm going to do a top down, and we're going to showcase some of these amazing 80s miniatures. I think I bought these, I want to say late 80s. I painted some of them. I threw them in a box, and they didn't get finished. The whole arm, both the Saracens and the Christian armies didn't fully get finished until 2000, which is a little bit around where my daughter was born, and my son was born a couple years before that. So yeah, so I think all the way through the 90s I was slowly working on these two armies, just a little bit by bit, right? So yeah, so let's go over here and I'll show you what I'm looking at. Okay, we're over here in the workshop. My kitty's cranking over here. Crank, crank, crank. Working on another project, and let's cut you in on the up-down cam. I brought a tray of assorted troops. Now, I've already shown you some of these, the Christian spearmen. Right? Awful. I mean, I probably maybe had 10 colored paints in my kit back in those days, so I kind of just worked with what I had. So we definitely need to clean up the shields, right, and get rid of that brash color. Go in a little bit on the shot here for you. And we can see the details in the models are pretty good, actually. Now, these were the Sudanese spearmen, and then some of them have swords, you can see here. So those are cool. And then I noticed when I pulled these out a couple years back, these were actually converted minis that I had for my Dungeons and Dragons campaigns back in the, you know, late 70s, early 80s with my friends, and I repainted them and tried to roll them into this game. Hence the shield coloring was, apparently I thought gray and yellow was a good choice for the Christian troops. And then I have the old classic, I think he came in one of the basic starter sets, dungeon crawler. You know, he's got his flask of oil. We used to throw flasks of oil at the orcs all the time, and his torch. So those are classic. I may end up repainting those and putting them back in with my D&D collection, my D&D miniature collection, which I still have. It's in my display case back here, so that's good that I had. Again, this was another, would have been like an assassin figure for old D&D. Here's another old D&D fig I converted. Right, I used to play him, obviously a fighter character, so we got that. But with the Saracens, I've got some Saracen era, almost Babylonian style archer dudes. Those will be really cool. We can definitely use those in Hail Caesar. It could be what do they call them? Not mercenaries, but auxiliaries that Romans could have used, right? Here's a guy, he's getting ready to fire his bow. So the miniatures are still really cool. They're very historic. Again, these were late 80s. Bought them at the Old Soldiery here in Columbus, Ohio on High Street, if anybody's familiar with the area. Another Sudanese spearman. And then I have a bunch of these, a whole flat of these guys. They're like Syrian troops that are like, I can make these into spears. It looks like more like a staff right now, but I did pull these out at some point, I think, and hit these with a wash. These have definitely been hit with a wash. So these don't look too bad, actually. It's just these bases are hideous, right? Frog fluorescent green. That's the way it was in the 80s and early 90s, guys. There was all kinds of goofy colors on the bases, old school bases. Everyone used this green. So that's where I was on that. I've got, like I said, I've got a whole tray of these, right? We can rank those up. Like I said, I don't think, without damaging the mini, I'm going to get these bases off of these, because they're on there pretty damn good. And then I think I used just Elmer's glue back then to put the flock on. But I don't think these are going anywhere. I think I'll just end up obviously putting like a dark brown around the bases. And we're just going to have to rank them up either, like I said, either on a piece of hardboard that I'm using for my Hail Caesar and rank them up on that, which is what I'm leaning towards, because I really don't want to mess with these. And then the issue is, what do I do with the cases? Because I really don't have that much I can put in those cases. I could use a case for my Forager figures, which are all individual 28 mils. So we'll see where I end up on that. But let's pull some of the Christian troops. Now, I definitely butchered these knights, but they're not really good sculpts. I think I'll probably pull these guys out. There's only a couple of them. I obviously use some hardware spray can. It's like a gloss. It looks terrible. The painting's mediocre at best. I might just take these out and throw them into the display case, just to say, hey, look how far I've come, right? I think I got those and painted those in probably like 85, 86. I actually used those in Dungeons and Dragons for one of our campaigns. But these are really cool figs here I've got. This is from that same manufacturer that made, where are they? These dudes, right? Good details. The horses have really good detail on them. They just need a wash and a proper color on the helmet. These are already using I put a dark green on these, so these are pretty well ready to go. I just think I just need to wash them and kind of tidy them up a little bit. So there's a mounted archer. I got another dude here. He's a spear guy, right? Another spear guy. Well, I got a whole accompaniment of these guys. We could turn these into Saxon warriors easily, Norman era troops. But I want to point out what I did back in the day. I would go to a hardware store and I'd buy a bunch of those cheap wood yardsticks, and I would cut them and break them and make them into little bases. So that's what I use for my bases here, guys, was just an old yardstick. We got a guy here with a banner. The banner actually looks kind of cool. I think he just needs hit with a wash, like I said, clean up the bold colors, and just hit him with a wash, and he's ready to go. I didn't even know how to flex my flags to make them look like they're in the wind. But that's just probably a poster card I had laying around that I used back in the day. So yeah, I finished these completely in 2000. That's why I dated them this way. But like I said, this was a long work in progress. I'd piddled with for years and years, and some of the stuff I picked up. Now this is my Saracen cavalry. We got a bugler here, or a horn player, sounding the charge. I really like this color I picked out. It was like almost like a kind of like an odd bluish color, but I think once it gets a wash on it, the horses are really good sculpts, I think, right? Like I said, I've got a lot more than this. This is just samples of how good these old casts were. So anywhere from the late 80s to the early 90s, I would have purchased these. Right, this one's on a white stallion. He's drawing his sword. This is one of my favorite ones. He's got the big drums. Right, needs cleaned up. Needs a proper wash. Maybe some highlights. Maybe do something a little brighter on the drums other than this dark copper. Right, get that cleaned up. We got probably a holy man that accompanied the Saracens into battle, praying to Allah. Right? Oh, Allah, please help us. He's pretty cool. I really like this fig. A lot of character. And now you can see why, after all these years, I really want to get these guys back out on the table. And they're just sitting going to waste. And they do need cleaned up. They need a proper going over. Right? So I put there's like little gems and stuff, I guess. I just used whatever colors I had. I got some green and orange on here. Right, so I'll leave that. That's kind of quaint, actually. And then this is a really cool fig I picked out to show you guys. He's a lord of Saracen lord, but he's got a falcon, right? We got a falcon there. It's pretty sweet, man. I really like these figures. I really like them. And like I said, I think I'll just pull all the D&D stuff aside because they still even have the original D&D bases that Raoul Partha used to use, the little plastic slotted bases that any of you guys from the past would recognize. That's basically what I have to showcase. So another purpose of this video was, I'm sure some of you older dudes like me, or even some of you younger dudes, might have some minis that you've kind of just tucked away. They're in a case or a box. And they're just a little unloved and neglected, like the town of misfit toys. We should think about rehabbing them. I've seen videos where guys put them in some sort of goop and strip the paint off. I'm not going to that extent. I think overall the paint is decent. If I just do some shading and washing and little color tweaking here and there, these have a lot of potential. And like I said, I'm really leaning towards if I don't use these old, and they're heavy, man. And I just may do this, just so I can keep them in the cases, the original cases, and bring them out once or twice a year and play them in Hail Caesar as some sort of troops maybe that are playing against the Romans. We could call them Syrians, we could call them whatever, just to use the figures. So I'll make that decision here, and when I get some of my other projects started, I'll probably start dabbling at this a little at a time, doing a unit at a time, like archers. We do have that upcoming Macedonian game, and I do need some archers for my Romans. So I'm thinking about doing those first, like here in the next couple weeks, just hitting them with a wash, getting them on a stand. And I'll play them as Roman auxiliary archers, maybe Assyrians or someone that the Romans picked up along the way and rolled into their force, right? So thanks for coming along for the ride today. Hit like, hit subscribe, please, and get on over down here again, down to my Discord link. Click it, it'll take you right to the Discord group, and you're in. Then you just put the app on your phone. It's not hard. It's in Google Play, or it's on your Apple app, Discord, and get it on there. You'll get your notifications just like Facebook. There'll be little red tabs and whatever notification level you want. Same thing. Click on it. It'll take you straight to the group. And you just might want to start your own Discord channel, right? That's over there, or your own Discord server. All right. Thanks again for coming along, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Ciao.